here, breakzone.com. Going to answer two questions sort of overlapping that I've gotten a lot over the years, often at seminars and such, but online, but particularly at seminars. Very common question, which of course is what is the best form of exercise for weight loss, and what is the best time to exercise to maximize weight loss? Very common questions. I think a fair amount of confusion. I think some of that confusion comes from, coaches, online personalities, and all that are trying to sort of make a niche for themselves by making very specific claims of what type of exercise done when and so forth is going to yield, cutting edge, super results. And I think, the answers I'm going to give, some people aren't going to like because they're kind of boring. They're a little anticlimactic, to be honest with you. But my interest and my approach has always been to be pragmatic and really view the long term, because I think a lot of times, well, coaches and people, whatever, get very caught up in very targeted approaches that yield short-term outcomes, short-term benefits. They don't lead to long-term benefits and outcomes, which is really what you're trying to achieve here. Because the reality is that both people will admit to this on a personal level, and statistically speaking, getting the weight off is not the hard part. Keeping the weight off is the hard part. That is statistically the reality. People gain and lose weight all the time, all up and i.e. yo-yo dieting and so forth. But the reality is, like I say, both people will nod their head at this. And statistically speaking, we know that keeping the weight off is the hard part. And I'm not going to get, again, too deep into things like body composition, fat loss versus weight loss, and so forth. That's a whole other conversation. But honestly, at the end of the day, for this discussion, it doesn't matter as much as people think it does. So with that in mind, let's answer the first question, which is, what is the best form of exercise? And there's going to be additionally disappointing discussion we'll have. So here, this is my take on it. The best form of exercise for weight loss is whatever form of exercise you're actually going to do. Okay. Because again, I could come up with some program for you to go do whatever it may be, jog, lift weights, do HIIT, whatever. And if you hate it and you don't enjoy doing it, you're not going to do it long term. This is a reality again, I think if you've been in the business of training people for decades, you start to, again, you look back at what worked and what didn't work long term, not short term, not somebody getting ready for a show or something, or a photo shoot or something, where they're focused on, 16 weeks or 18 weeks or whatever. This is long term, lifelong stuff that I'm going to be talking about here. And the bottom line is my advice whenever I get that question is the number one answer is the best form of exercise is going to be that form that you will actually do. Half the battle, I like to say, half the battle is just doing something. A lot of people will get themselves, into paralysis by analysis by stressing over, am I doing the best form of exercise to, burn the max number of calories or oxidize the most fat and so forth. And at the end of the day, like I say, if you hate doing it, you're not going to do it, not going to do it long term. And so by default, the best form is going to be something you are going to do forever. Okay. Now, whether that's a long walk, whether that's riding your bike, whether that's sprints, whether that's lifting weights, and so forth. Again, we're not talking about, maximizing health or maximizing VO2 max or maximizing, strength and so forth. We're talking about basically, and all of those will lead to improved health, but we're talking about something you're going to do forever. And so that is always my answer when I get that question. And people always, I think, again, they always sort of look surprised because they're expecting, we could discuss again, HIIT, sit, and I'll post some articles below this for more information if people want to go down some of those rabbit holes. So that is my default answer. Find the thing that you enjoy doing and that you will continue to do year in and year out, because this is the reality we're talking about the rest of your life. Not if there's any mistakes that I see people make, again, it's focusing on these narrow windows of trying to get in shape or lose weight or whatever for something specific. I think that's always, whether it's, again, whether it's holidays, whether it's wedding pictures or something. This is just never works out in the long term. You really have to view this as something you're going to do basically forever. So, like I say, so if that is lifting weights, it may be lifting weight. Maybe we could argue that lifting weights is not the optimal way to go about, maximizing calories used during exercise. And that's a whole, again, there's a lot of conflicting data there too, but we're not even going to talk about that. So look, if taking a long walk every day is what works for you and what you like and you'll do it, then that's what you should do. Now, again, when people have specific goals, let's say specific, an athlete or somebody has a specific goal, they want to compete, they want to do well in a powerlifting competition. Well, obviously, you're not going to go walk a lot. If your goal is to do well in a powerlifting competition, you're going to go do the 3 big lifts and the accessory lifts and work on those. We're talking about the realities, like I say, of people that have to get into a habit, a lifelong habit of doing something. Now, if someone was to say, well, what is the best balance for me, let's say from a health perspective, that's going to be definitely resistance training would have to be in there. There is no other form of exercise that replaces resistance exercise. You can run, you can ride your bike, you can swim, you can do BJJ, whatever. None of those are going to replace the benefits of resistance exercise. The minimum of which, okay, you're a busy person, the minimum of which is going to be 2 sessions a week. If you can get in the gym, or not to gym, or home, whatever you find. I'm defaulting to the gym. You over my shoulder, wrong shoulder. You can see my part of my home gym setup. I've got some bars and some weights and stuff in my little office. During COVID, that's where I worked out. Now I'm going back to the gym, but whatever. Sometimes I ride my bike. There's an outdoor gym here in Florida and the weather's nice. I will ride my bike over there. I will do a circuits outside. So don't worry about being in the gym. My point being, for those people that have limited time, if you can do 2 whole body workouts a week, we're talking maybe a maximum of 2 hours total, and you're efficient about it, you're picking the right exercises and the right resistance, you can get away with 2 sessions a week to get the basic benefits, health benefits of resistance training. And then the other days of the week, you might be, again, taking your long walks, taking your bike rides, what have you. All right. So I know that's a really anticlimactic answer, but again, I am looking for the long term. Now, I'll give you my personal examples. Back in the day, there was something called German volume training, which was popularized. It was a 10 by 10 program where you picked a percentage of your max. I think it was 80%. I don't remember what the percentage of 1RM was. Charles Poliquin popularized this. But basically, it was 10 sets of 10 reps of an exercise. And I believe it was the German volume training. It was very popular. Some people were getting really excellent benefit responses from it. And I tried it and I hated it. I just could not stand it. It was so boring. It was so uninteresting to me. I didn't last, I think, maybe a couple of weeks on. I just dreaded doing it. And if you're, like I say, even from that perspective, if you're not looking forward to something and you're not going to stick to it, you're not going to put your effort into it, you're not going to do it. And that, running, I have to say, from both a personal level, but also I think, and I'll put that an article below on how much I think running, when I say running, I mean like jogging, I think is probably the most overrated form of exercise on the planet. And I also just despise it personally. I always have. I like sprinting. I like that. I like lifting weights. But anything that jogging, and I hiking, I like rucksacking. I've done that. I like, but running, jogging, just something, on a personal. Now, so somebody said that jogging was the miracle weight loss, and I was trying to lose weight, and that was my focus. Would I jog? No, I wouldn't do it. It just wouldn't happen. And so I would end up not doing it. And so I hope I'm driving home what I'm telling you here is find something you like to do that you enjoy, that you're going to do, and do it. Okay. And like I said, that's half the battle. Now, once you get into that habit of having that lifelong habit and you're doing it, and you then want to start maybe adding in some other stuff, so experimenting, a bit. And I'm right. I'm kind of talking to people right now. They're kind of going maybe from zero to getting into this, but not everybody. Again, you might be doing something right now that you're not getting great benefits from, or you were told this was the form of exercise you should be doing, but you're really not enjoying it, and you're not doing it regularly because you just hate it, and you're saying, I really liked when I was doing this other thing. Well, okay, go do that other thing, and then start worrying about adding in something else, or whether that's resistance training, or whether that's some HIIT, or whether that's sprints, or whatever. Okay, so here's the additional not great news. Exercise onto itself, regardless of form, it does not utilize the number of calories, does not have the effects on weight loss and calories used that we thought. It's surprisingly underwhelming. A lot of the assumptions that we made, if we had this conversation 10 years ago, I would have said, well, of course you should be exercising while you're losing weight. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I have to say that unfortunately, exercise onto itself for weight loss does not add a lot. Now, that is not a reason at all to not exercise, for obvious reasons. One thing we absolutely know obvious is that regular exercise is correlated with a reduction in all sorts of diseases, whether it's heart disease and diabetes and cancer. And of course, you look better and you feel better and you look better naked and all that. So that doesn't change my opinion of the value of exercise one iota. But I hate to be the bearer of bad news, because I really don't want anyone to say, Jesus, now all that exercise I was doing, to lose weight isn't even all that beneficial. I just have to be honest. And, again, I'll put an article below, you can look. But unfortunately, exercise from a strictly weight loss perspective does not add a lot. So there you go. Sorry to say it. Okay. Overlapping question 2 is some people aren't going to like, but it's going to have a very similar answer, which is, what is the best time to exercise for weight loss? And again, there's been debate and conflicting data for decades as far as fasted and non-fasted, and or say not fasted but taking in a little bit of protein, and on and on and on it goes, where you're into minutia and nitpicking, where again the answer is going to be, drum roll, the best time you can get in the gym. The best time to work out for weight loss by default is going to be whenever you can get in there to do it. And again, I'm going to give you my own experience. I'm not a morning person, to put it mildly. Okay. Now, if the data was really, really clear to me that the best time to maximize calorie burning and weight loss and all that was at 5:30 a.m., with a half a cup of coffee and 1 scoop of protein powder or something, frankly, I really don't care, because there is not a chance in hell you're going to get me in that gym at 5:30 in the morning, because I would hate every minute of it, and I wouldn't do it. So I personally, the best time for me personally to work out when I have the most energy is around 3-4 o'clock. That's always been my for me, and I work for myself, so I can go whenever I want. When I was a student, I would kind of plan my between classes or something. I really around that early afternoon, 3 to 5-ish, for whatever reason, is perfect for me. I have the most energy. I have the most interest to do it. Now, I'm not going to say now, when I was younger and I was a much bigger guy and I was really, focused on bodybuilding and all that. Yeah, I used to walk, through blizzards to get to the gym. No matter what, if anything, I'd probably work out later, 9, 10 o'clock p.m. Anything but morning. I'll be honest with you. I mean, just about anything but morning. But yes, there were plenty of times when I was in the gym at a time I did not prefer. I didn't enjoy it as much as I might have at my quote unquote perfect time. So yeah, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And if the only time you can do is, a lot of people do get up early and go to the gym and get that workout over with, and and then go to work, and they've got kids to deal with and all that. And I get it. I know if that's the only time you can do it, that's the only time you can do it. But I will say again, if you have any flexibility there, the best time for you to work out to lose weight by default is whatever time you can get in there. And I think that getting into debates about fasted workouts, again, the only people that are are probably going to notice any real differences in these small changes between fasted and non-fasted or whatever. They're going to be people that are already lean and trying to get leaner. I think on a general weight loss perspective, let's say you're trying to go from 25% body fat to 20 or something like that, whatever. These small differences aren't going to make any damn difference, frankly. They're not. If you're 12% and you're trying to get to 9, they may. I will tell you again, the data is conflicting as far as the benefits really of fasted versus non-fasted workouts. Again, people get overly focused on things like beta oxidation, but there's a lot more going on. Quote unquote fat burning. That's what beta oxidation is. Again, at the end of the day, I really want pragmatic, long-term outcomes for people to make those decisions. And what happens is a lot of people will get what they find to be overwhelming or conflicting advice from, again, social media types, coaches, people trying to, sell programs, what have you, to convince you that, you must be doing HIIT, 3 times a week, right before this, after eating 1 scoop of whey protein, and, because they've got the magic sauce. And for some people in very specific goals, that may be true. Again, I used to do pre-contest prep with pro bodybuilders, various pro athletes, Olympic track and field runner, 100 meters. Sorry, I can't talk today. SWAT team, so on and so forth. So, I have definitely worked in those areas with very specific people that wanted very specific outcomes. But I think the vast majority of people that are watching this, they're not those people. They just want good, pragmatic, easy to follow advice that will get them where they need to go long term. This is who I'm talking to. Okay. If you're a competitive bodybuilder, you're not watching this video for anything from me. If you're a top level collegiate sprinter, this is not advice for you. You don't need this advice. You're the kind of person who is going to go and do whatever they have to do under their plan, whether they like it or they don't like it, and get what you get done. But this is not the majority of people. And sadly, the people I'm talking to are a growing body of people, no pun intended. People are getting heavier. People are more confused. People are getting, advice that confuses them, and they give up. Like I said, I think when people become overwhelmed, they give up. Or when people experience what, we call paralysis by analysis, I think they give up. And I think that like half the battle, especially as you get older, is, again, when you're a kid, you can do anything you want, get away with, whoever. Again, if you're watching this and you're not a kid, you know what I'm talking about. Half the battle is just doing something. All right. Whether it's just getting into the gym, whether it's getting out in the morning for that run or that walk, whatever, finding that form of exercising that you enjoy, and you'll do it repeatedly for the health benefits, for the minor weight loss improvements, help there. Like I said, I wish that I had better news on the benefits of exercise for weight loss anyway. And that's my pragmatic long-term advice to people on the best form of exercise and the best time to exercise. I hope that helps. If you like this advice, hit the likes. Obviously, this is brought to you by Alpha Joe. Tastes good, feels good, it's good for you. Trifecta of win, I like to say. And see you guys all on the Brink Zone.